Round 4 of the Scottish Rally Championship, the Scottish Rally. First through the stages are the Historics.
Leading them, the veteran campaigner and head of the now legendary rallying family, Jimmy McRae, at the wheel of a Ford Lotus Cortina. An early puncture here, lost only a few seconds. This is the second stage at Craig, and the Cortina showed no sign of its age. This is John Keatley from Northern Ireland with his Porsche 911. He and co-driver Maurice Beckett had not recce'd the route, and without pace notes they were driving blind, but they were full of confidence. But that lack of preparation showed here on Elibank with a wide slide round the hairpin. At the wheel of another Porsche, Richard Tuthill from Banbury. He started well, and on the early stages, he took the lead. Also from across the water, this is Desi Nutt from Castle Rock, in the third of a quartet of Porsche 911s. At the start, they said their tactics were to sit back and watch the action ahead of them. But after setting third fastest time on the opening stage, maybe they weren't being entirely serious. The fourth Porsche 911 was in the hands of Adrian Kermode from Douglas on the Isle of Man. He had a real problem on the Elibank hairpin. But he recovered. Stephen Hall had a great start in his Triumph TR4, setting fastest time on the opening stage at Twigleys. Paul Kynaston admitted to being a bit rusty, even though he'd won the Tour of Cornwall just 4 weeks before. Certainly his Sunbeam Tiger sounded as though it meant business. It was home territory for Alan Clark from Lanarkshire in his Hillman Avenger, but he'd bent the axle on its last event. But he was about to have some additional problems. This is the Volvo Amazon of Graham Waite from Nuneaton. Here's another 911 at the wheel, David McErlin, with a clear aim in his mind, to go like hell. Which is what this Mark I Lotus Cortina seems to be doing in the hands of Neil Calvert. He went off later on the final stage of the day, but he recovered to make it to the end. In a bit of a flap, or at least his bonnet is, this is David Butler in his 911. And this is the rare Saab Sonnet of Andrew Street. The Mini Cooper S dominated rallying in the 60s. This one belongs to Peter Wiseman. And this looks like a Ford Anglia, but Martin Fox describes it as a Nallardette. So the Historics Day belonged to Jimmy, and he flew to the finish. John Keatley had to settle for a drive in McRae's dust. And Desi Nutt was pleased with his third place. So this is how the oldies finished in the top 10. The start line of the first stage in Clatteringshaws, north of Newton Stewart, and lined up to be first away, Andy Horn from Inverness. Championship leader Jim Carty is next off, followed by John Byrne in another Metro. In the former Works World Championship Subaru, Jimmy Patterson and Alistair Campbell.
And caution to right over jump tightens. 150. 150.
Andy Horn's in trouble right away. He'd landed heavily after a high-speed jump, dislodging a spark plug lead, so the car's down on power, running on only 5 of its 6 cylinders. Just watch and hear the difference with Jim Carty's identical Metro 6R4. This is how it should sound and perform. John Byrne's Metro's going pretty well too. He took an early lead and slowed only when he was held up by Andy Horn until he got past.
1 right, 1 left. 4 left into 1 right. 40. 1 right, 80. 1 left over crest.
And they're catching Andy Horn.
60. Rest. 1 left, 40. 2 left, 80. 2 left, 80.
Andy Horn had cured his misfire, but now he had other problems. He'd forgotten to switch on the cooling fans in the heat of the moment, and now the car was boiling. By the Glen Trool stage, he'd also lost his driver's side wing. Jim Carty was shedding his bodywork too. Here on Black Loch, his front grill's looking very shaky. But it's back firmly in place for the 3rd stage. John Byrne was having a great day and extending his lead. But on Glen Trool he hit a rock and jammed the front wheel against the wheel arch. That cost him much valuable time. Let's rejoin Jimmy Patterson on the Black Loch stage. It's dry again, and that can be deceptive.
5 right, 5 right, 5 right, 5 right, 170. Crest to your left into 3 right, keep in over jump.
It wasn't going too well for Chris Wagner. He'd damaged his rear suspension after a departure into the undergrowth near the finish of Glen Trool. The dust was flying for Duncan Jaffrey, and he was having trouble getting into his stride. Up to 5th place at this point, Andy Kelly was heading Group N. Andy Horn's Metro was looking like it had been working hard, but it was about to look a great deal worse. Fortunately, rally fan John Sharp from Lochmaben was on hand to catch the action. The conditions weren't getting any better for the final stage at A. But Carty was in line for a good finish, provided he stayed the course, and he did, to sail home in 2nd place. But it was about to go all wrong for the leader John Byrne, with the end in sight. It came a lot sooner than he expected on the final stage. That smoke signifies a blown engine, and he's not going anywhere. And that left the field clear for Jimmy Patterson. So this is how they finished, and this is how it affected the championship table.